we are in our fall era for the Spotlight series. And this is an initiative where we shine the spotlight on incredible initiatives that are driving the much needed positive change in STEM. So very important to us. And I'm very excited to welcome a representative from Code2Career, the wonderful Anna Atalay. Anna, welcome to the Spotlight series. It's great to have you today.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Anna, could you just give our audience a bit of a snippet into you?
I'm a code switcher myself. Nowadays, I'm a software engineer and also a co-founder of Code2Career, where we empower career switchers to change their life. But before I came to this point, a few years back, I knew nothing about coding, nothing about tech field. And I was curious about it. And at some point, I started to learn myself. I wanted to do the change in my life. And after some time, after learning and some struggle, I did find my first job in tech. And it was actually my dream job, which helped me to change my life.
That's amazing that you've been able to transition into something that you truly love. And going into a new career, switching is very scary, right? It's the unknown. You're going into something very unfamiliar. But what was that moment for you where you, I guess, realized that you wanted to pursue a career in tech?
There was a few moments, and before I started learning, I moved to another country, so my education was completely irrelevant there. And also, I never really feel that what I studied at school, at university, was something that I want to do. So I was in a continuous search how to improve my life, because doing something that you don't really like, feeling bad about Mondays didn't feel good to me, didn't feel right. So I've been searching how to change this, but eventually I found that coding was very interesting to me, and I loved building things. And also another advantage of coding is that you can actually do a career switch without a need to go to university or any traditional school. So that's something that helped me a lot. And that was one of the criteria that's important to do the career switch, and that helped me.
How did you actually discover a career in tech and what that looks like? What was that moment for you?
So I was doing a lot of research, and I saw different videos and different materials regarding what career in tech look for other people. I was very much inspired by people working in big tech companies, in startups all over the world, being able to travel and do things that people are really passionate about. That's the most important thing for me, I think. Not being inspired and not feeling well about what I did in my previous job was something that I wanted to change. And when I saw others feeling very well about what they do, feeling inspired and wanting to learn more and move forward every day, that's something that made me do this change, to pick this direction.
Thinking about that moment where you made that transition, you are where you are now. What languages are you working with on like a day-to-day basis?
On a day-to-day, I work full stack. So I do JavaScript for front-end development, and I do Scala for back-end development.
And at this moment in time, what do you enjoy the most about your job and working in tech?
I like problem solving, but I also like helping others, because my focus right now is helping other people to pursue a career in tech, and seeing them grow, seeing them start from zero and move forward. That's something that makes me feel very well when I see that people can accomplish different things and be proud of themselves, feel good about what they do. That's something that I enjoy the most.
That's really inspiring. And of course, this then leads us to Code2Career, a wonderful initiative that you have founded, you're heading up. Can you again just shed light on what is your mission at Code2Career?
At Code2Career, we empower career switchers with tech skills that they need to enter the field, and we help them with everything that I didn't have in my journey, learning by myself, so that their entrance to the field is smoother and easier.
Let's talk a little bit about that defining moment that actually led you to create Code2Career. What happened?
Back at the time, I was just a software engineer working in the company in Sweden, and I did love my job very much. I still love it, what I do. But at that time, we also had a YouTube channel where we used to share our life and our journey. A lot focused on how I did the switch in the career and life changes. So our social media followers would ask us a lot about how can they do that, how can they switch career, how can they move to a country where they want to live, and eventually we just started to help them with that. So the first group of people that I was helping, they were all our followers following us for quite some time, and that's how it all started.
You had that following, you listened to the questions that they had, and you've turned that into something that is so transformative and incredible. And you should be so proud of yourself, Anna, because that also is difficult. It takes time, especially when you have a job that you love, that you're doing on a day-to-day. So this is a real labor of love for you coming in and making this happen. And through the work that you've been doing with people, through your own experiences, what do you feel are the biggest obstacles that career switchers actually face when it comes to breaking into the tech world?
There are a number of changes, actually. It's from the beginning when you want to actually get in the tech field. There are a lot of resources online that you can use to learn, which is good on one hand because it's free, it's available everywhere. But on the other hand, it's also very intimidating and overwhelming because you never know when you are good enough. So knowing when you're ready to actually enter the field, when you're enough to provide values to other companies, to other people. I think that's something that many people struggle very much with. I struggled with it myself as well. And that's something that I help the most because I have I see the other side of the tech world where you work somewhere, you know, what are the expectations? Someone hires people. So that's one part. Another part is that I would say tech world is different. There are different companies, people with different opinions. So they are very innovative and forward-looking companies that care about different people, different backgrounds, fluent in tech, and so on. But there are also companies that have more a closed mindset where they prefer to only work with people from traditional background. And that's also something that people feel a bit intimidated by. I hear a lot about companies require diplomas, for example, but it's also important to let people know that if someone asks you a diploma, it doesn't mean that other companies do that. There are different companies, different opinions. So guiding students in this process of job search and helping them to choose the correct strategy for finding the company that will be right for them is another area of focus for me because job search is hard for everyone, not only for someone who tries to enter the field, but for people who are already in the field because, not all companies treat people applying for jobs very well. Sometimes there could be multiple reasons why we don't get response to our application and things like that. So helping people to keep their morale up during this process, not feel bad about themselves, and keep moving on, and sometimes changing direction to adapt market needs is what I also try to help them with.
There's so many important things that you're working on there. Confidence, knowing when you're ready, knowing yourself, preparing them for the job market, which can be super scary, like you say, for anybody, let alone if this is your first potential job in tech. It can be really challenging and really tough. So how does Code2Career help to overcome these hurdles? What do you put in place? What things are you doing to support your students?
During our course, we have multiple real-world projects that help people to learn the skills and understand that they can do real-world tasks and understand their level, basically. That's how we approach the first struggle where people don't know if they're good enough. And when it comes to job search and motivation, we do testing and different code interview preparation tasks and mock interviews. So they're prepared, but also I do like one-on-one coaching in the period where students are actually looking for a job, so that I can help them with the right strategy directly for them, not for someone else, because everyone has a different background, as you know, and someone has better interpersonal skills. Some other person may have more of a technical background, sometimes not exactly programming, but let's say something like math. So when the person is better in math, they are better in certain areas in programming. So then we focus on this side and help that person correctly show it in the job application process.
For students who may be interested in a career transition, could you break down your comprehensive program? So, what does the structure actually look like from day one to graduation?
So our course is quite long actually, and the main part of the course, it takes 12 months, and we start with the basic. So the first part would cover HTML and CSS and basics of web development. And in the next part, we start learning JavaScript, so the actual programming, and solve more problems during this part. We also learn during this process different tools that people need to succeed in the tech world and to actually work somewhere. And at the last part of this 12-month period, we start to introduce React, TypeScript, Tailwind, CSS, different libraries that are popular in between different companies nowadays. So whatever is popular in the tech field, that's our main focus for the students, so they're prepared the best. And I believe that it's very, very important to have solid basics, not just keep focusing on the popular things from the beginning, but understand what actually matters, because libraries change, and it's important to know how to work with any library, not just with one particular library. That's why we focus on the basics. But also there are other things that we pay a lot of attention to, and things like source control, the system that software engineers more use to work on a daily basis, to share their software, to save their software, create different versions of it. I think it's the tool that most of the beginners struggle with a lot. So that's something that we use in our program very, very much. So I want people leaving our program be comfortable with it. But also things like automated testing and quality assurance, making sure that the code that they write is not understandable to a computer only, but to other people, because I believe that is something very, very important, and that's also what most of online tutorials are lacking. So I try to teach people real life things that are very, very important when you enter market as well. So that's what our focus is. And after this 12-month period, we have 6 months part of the course, which is also internship program available to some of the students who want to join it. There we work on a real life project. At the moment, we build personal finance application where you can manage your budget. It's like a web application. Next time we are going to have other projects, but they're just the same project that you would have in any company that you would go to. So we base it very much on setup and workflow that you have in the tech field, so that our students can get experience very, very close to what they would have during their first, second, and third job, and so on.
How many people do you accept a year onto the course?
It's different year to year because they are growing, but we started with a few people. I think in our first year we had around 15 students in total, and this year we have 15, and we plan to have another group. It will open in December, so we will have more students this year. But the goal for us is to keep small groups so that we can interact one-on-one and have this personal touch. Actually know what the level every person has, what they struggle with, to have this personal connection with them.
So keeping your group small is one thing, but how else do you work to create this inclusive, accessible, and supportive learning environment for your students?
We have students from different backgrounds, as you know. Some of them struggle more with technical aspects. They're not familiar sometimes with computer and how computer works. So then I pay extra attention to provide them this information and make sure that they understand things, and help them in any possible way to bring them on the same level with other students, on the level where they should be by the time that they finish course. And apart from that, some of our students, they come from different countries, so they struggle with English sometimes, and that's also part of our course. We have some additional resources to help people improve their language skills. And in the course, our courses in English, so that they can get better, more comfortable in the language that they will use in the tech field, because tech field is very much focused on the English. Everything is in English here. So that's two areas that most of our students struggle with. But apart from that, we have a flexible schedule, and we do have in-person lessons. So we try to keep them in the evening hours. That suits most of the people, because we are teaching career switchers. There are people who have career already. They work somewhere, meaning they are busy during the day. Most of them have families, they have kids and other responsibilities. So making the program flexible for them, and also keeping this ability to to learn when they can in the time that suits them is our priority.
December, you said that applications are opening up for the next round. What does that look like for someone if they want to join your program? What is the expectation? Is this something that they pay for? How do they apply?
Our program is paid so that we can make it work. How do they apply? They get in touch with us and we have a conversation with the person. We try to understand whether it's just a wish to change their life and their career, or whether they actually have this inner power and time and opportunity to change. Because wanting one thing, but it's not always enough. If you have a life that is way too busy and if you cannot find the time to do the change, then it's probably better not to try right now, but to figure out how you can make the time first and then apply to a program. So we keep this conversation, try to understand real reasons behind everyone's wishes and whether they have this ability to spend time on learning, to spend time on the program, because for us it's important not just to accept as many students as we can, but to make sure that they actually can finish the program and then to change their career. That's our main goal. For that, we of course, unlike many boot camps, we don't keep a very short period. We stretched it out, as I said, to 12, 18 months in total. That's to accommodate the needs and make the pace a little bit shorter so that people can actually make this change easier. And we ask them to think whether they can study at least 2 hours per day. It's our minimum because we think that how much time at least you need to do the change. And apart from that, there are different personal things. When we talk to our future potential students, try to understand if they want to be consistent, because that's what matters for us. Background, your gender, your age, that doesn't matter. But being able to actually show up every single day and contribute even a little, that's what's the most important. That's what we are looking for.
And it's like with anything, when you're learning something new, you're wanting to transition, you do have to prioritize that commitment and be consistent with it. And I love that you advocate that. And also you're making it over a longer period of time so people can really get a grasp and get to grips of, like you say, the fundamentals, the basics, focus on the quality and the importance of that, and leave as a well-rounded developer ready to attack the job market full speed ahead. What's one really proud story that you have so far from Code2Career?
There are two things. The first one is one of my first students, actually, a young woman. She was, like me, very much unhappy with the job that she did. She had always a lot of work to do, and there was actually too much work, to be fair. And she wanted to be more flexible in her job, do something meaningful, do something that she likes, and be treated better in a workplace. That was her motivation behind the switch. And she joined our program. And during her study, even before our course ended, she was able to do the switch. She was the fastest of all students, and it wasn't easy for her, but I'm very proud to see how she's moving forward now. She's experienced developer and she's continue learning, continue growing. So seeing people like this makes me really happy, but also seeing how people have more trust in themselves, how they feel better about what they can do, they feel excited and happy by accomplishing things. That's something that I love. Finishing the course, finding a job is one thing, but there are also day-to-day things that make me happy. And these small moments when people accomplish maybe small things for experienced developers, but very, very big and important projects and small problems, that makes me extremely excited and happy about what I do.
I can only imagine how proud you must feel. What a great thing to witness, to be a part of, to know that you contributed to that. It's amazing, Anna. It really is. For people who are passionate as well, like you, about supporting career switchers, what are some ways that they could get involved with Code2Career's mission?
It depends on their position, but if you are in a position where you can provide opportunity, for example, for internship or some kind of hands-on experience, I very, very much appreciate that, because yes, we do provide all the resources and internship in our program, but I think it's even more valuable when people can go to another company and meet other people in tech, apart from me, apart from other students, have a conversation with them, contribute to their project, and see how that works, what they do in a day-to-day life in a different company. So have this perspective, I think, is very much valuable. And I very much appreciate support.
What's the best way they can reach you, Anna, if they're interested?
LinkedIn, I think, is the best platform. I'm very active there.
I'll put the link in the description box below. And I just want to close things off now with some advice for folks who are considering a career transition, interested in tech. Anna, I want to know from your perspective, what skills do you feel are really crucial for a software engineer's success outside of the languages and the basics?
I think that it's very, very important to be patient, not to be scared of binary that you see on the screen, but also if you want to advance further in the career, I think communication skills and collaboration skills are very, very much important, because it's not only that we sit behind our computers all day coding something. It's not like that. We are very much working with people, and that's very important to ask the right questions, talk to right people about a certain problem, and also that also helps a lot to understand the business needs, because every business is different. So if you understand what matters, what does not, where to spend extra time, and what does not worth spending time, is something that helps you to grow in your role after you enter the market.
Self-doubt can come in on this journey. You spoke about this earlier, that feeling of, are you ready? Are you good enough? What advice can you share for someone who is in the midst of a transition, but really thinking that they can't do this? The self-doubt's coming in. What advice, words of wisdom, positivity can you share for them?
I always tell people that struggle with it to look back 2 months back, 3 months back, 1 month back, maybe if they just started, and see what they could do then and what they can do now, because there is usually a huge gap between the skills. So appreciate what you can do today, and accept that you are already somewhere. You took a few hard steps, you are moving on, and don't think too much. Don't be overwhelmed by all the information that we have. Just keep moving in your own pace. For someone, the journey may be a little bit shorter. For some people, it could be a little bit longer. But it's important that if you show up every day and do the best you can, there will be a day where you'll certainly achieve the goal that you want.
That is so positive. And in the words of Dory from Finding Nemo, just keep swimming. It's going to be challenging at times. You may face some hurdles, but keep going. The consistency is really, really important. Anna, we've loved shining the spotlight. Thank you for the great work that you're doing.